Powered by
Discover your Daraj.
Presenting Love Uber Eats, a platform to donate essential items to those in need.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another fantastic edition of Sitback with Shaq and Anu. We're coming to you live on Channel 1 on Dialogue TV, live on our YouTube platform, PodHub. Thanks so much for being a part of the show. As always, every single day, Monday to Thursday, right here, coming to you live at 9:30.
Except on the random Tuesday. Yeah. We'll explain why.
We don't want to.
Maybe not. we won't. But welcome back to the show. And as always, there's lots of things to talk about, lots of new things happening in the country. And of course, we keep you up to date with all the trending topics. A big thank you to both our sponsors, that's Daraj and Uber Eats, and wonderful things happening on their end too.
That's right. We'll give you more details as we move along with the show. A big thank you to both our sponsors coming on board and, of course, giving us the energy to make sure that we bring in some fantastic guests to make sure, like Anu said, there are so many things that are happening in Sri Lanka at the moment. It could be politics, it could be sports, it could be a business, it doesn't matter what it is. We have so many things that are going on right now, and we're trying to bring in as many people as possible to let you know as to what we are all up to in Sri Lanka.
That's right. And today, before we move on with the show, of course, we do have a poll that's very intricately and intimately connected to what we're going to talk about. So without further ado, let's get into that before we introduce our wonderful guest.
Welcome to the universe of Daraj, where you explore and discover whatever you want, whatever you need. All you can imagine is on your feet. When miles are abridged, happiness is unlocked. Discover your Daraj.
Right, and we are back. Okay. All kinds of noises coming from the production side. Don't worry about it.
We're right smack in the middle of a power outage, by the way.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it is what it is. So without further ado, this is your poll for today. Of course, all we need is a yes or no answer, and the responses we will reveal near the end of the show. So here it is. Does your organization, whatever particular organization that you're attached to or working with, offer the same amount of opportunities specifically targeted to women as it did 3 years ago? Yes or no answers. Only WhatsApp your answers to our hotline number 07766911590. And like I said, at the end of the show, we will reveal how the pulse of the people stands.
That's right, and so many people, of course, watching us on Channel 1 Dialogue TV, and big thank you to everybody who's been sending us their results as far as the polls are concerned, for so many polls that we've had right throughout the show. It's time for us to introduce our guest on the show today, and she's a management consultant, a board member, joint secretary of the Women's Chamber of Industry and Commerce, Tusitha Kumarakulasingam. Tusitha, good evening, and thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
It's going to be a fun show.
Let's hope so.
So yeah, Tusitha, of course, is representing the Women's Chamber of Industry and Commerce on the show, and we've got lots to obviously talk about. Firstly, I think something that we should definitely get into is the fact that what is the role that the Women's Chamber of Commerce actually plays in Sri Lanka?
Okay. I think before I start on that, let me just try and explain what the Women's Chamber is.
Okay.
It is, it's supposed to be it's 35 years old.
Right.
It's been there for 35 years. And it's supposed to be the first women's chamber in the world.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so we found that out quite accidentally, and we're very proud about it as well. The main role is actually to support entrepreneurs and professionals to do better.
Okay.
In everything that they do.
Right.
So we are there as the partners who give them that strength to do even better. with the ultimate objective of from the entrepreneurs to have a greater contribution to the economy. I mean, right now the women's contribution is negligible.
Right. Yeah.
And we need to. They are so capable. We should get them out there doing more and a lot for the country.
Yeah, I think that's one of the questions that we should get into right in the middle of the discussion as to why the women entrepreneurs out there are so negligible and they can do so much. So what is the role that the chamber actually plays for the women?
Okay, so I think I'll just start with the vision stuff as well, because it's pretty solidly structured.
Right.
We talk about being the think tank, voice and the platform, empowering women to be powerful nation builders by participating in transforming the economy of the country.
Right.
And then our mission is aligned, so we do several things to support the women.
Right.
And the organization is structured in such a way that there are different pillars. I mean, one of the key pillars is the capacity building. So we do a lot of training and coaching workshops and things like that for entrepreneurs as well as professionals. And of course there is a separate team looking after the members and member development as well. There is a governance pillar, and then there is another pillar which looks at policy advocacy, because the issues that the women have needs to be voiced, raised, and solutions sought. So we work a lot on that area as well.
Tusitha, when you say, let me just interject. When you say women entrepreneurs, what kind of capacity are we talking about? Now let's say when it comes to microfinancing, lots of microfinancing agencies lend to women entrepreneurs, but they are at a very small scale.
Yeah. So ours is the membership is available to entrepreneurs across.
Right.
Yeah. So we do have a lot of micro and small entrepreneurs with SMEs with us. But at the same time, we have extra large businesses represented by women as part of the Women's Chamber as well. So it's a cross section.
Yeah.
But of course, I think to your question, the answer is there are lots of women who are doing little things, which is not in a structured way.
Right.
And that's what we need to, as a country, as an organization, we need to try and kind of put more effort to get it. I mean, to be very frank, there is no entrepreneur database available in the country.
Yeah, when it comes to women. Anyone.
I think even men.
Right.
So it is not available.
Yeah.
There isn't a single place where this information is available. There are so many ministries looking after bits and pieces, but there is no consolidation. So that's an issue.
Yeah, but Tusitha, they don't talk to each other. They only do on social media, little fights on social media.
Yeah, they just want to pass a message, they basically jump on Twitter.
So that's to show that they are on social media.
And they are very savvy with the social media.
And the person really has to reply also on Twitter.
So when you want to influence policy, especially when it comes to women entrepreneurs, who do you push? Which ministry do you push?
It depends on what the issue is. Like, say, for instance, recently we had we did a survey on financing and how easy or difficult it is for women to obtain finance. I mean, obviously, when you go to a bank, a woman is not given the same recognition that a man gets.
Why is that? I mean, this is something that's coming up all the time.
In a certain segment, Shaq, it's both men and women.
Yeah.
Because they can't go to a legitimate. So that's why microfinancing exists, because they are not credible enough for big
so they
business.
ask for so many things like, say, collaterals, supporting documents, and most of these small businesses don't have any of that.
That's right.
Yeah, so you have to figure out a way of kind of supporting them without burdening them too
much.
Like
us. Like us.
We don't have any documents.
We don't have any collateral. We are the collateral.
So that's the thing.
Sorry.
I mean, what we normally do is, when there's an issue, we actually try and do a survey across membership and outside as well, and then try and find out what their real issues are, and then the policy documents go to the right, hopefully the right people. But so this particular survey was actually presented to the previous central bank governor, but nothing happened. So it's probably lying in some cupboard.
Absolutely.
But what we do then is we actually approach banks. So there are certain banks which have like actually recognized it and committed, okay, we will work with you, and then your members, we will give them some preferential treatment.
Right.
So at least that is some form of support for entrepreneurs who are with us.
Right.
You said Tusitha, that no, you do a survey whenever it comes to a specific problem. So how do you do it? Do you hire a research agency, or
sometimes it's through a research agency because we don't have like the capability of
feet on the ground.
Feet on the ground in the sense. I mean, to do a formal research, it's a complicated process.
Yes.
So now thereafter, we have done 2 other researches. We've used Kanta for that. One was on actually large-scale infrastructure projects.
Right.
Why don't women get involved? Right. So we know that so many things happen, and like this, it was not just us. It was actually a funded project by SAIP.
Right.
Center for So SAIP got so many organizations in Sri Lanka to look at certain infrastructure projects, identified projects, and study those and see come out with what really happened. So we selected 2 projects. One, of course, was non-starter. The other one was over cost as well as over time.
Right.
But project got completed. So that again, now we had to do this survey to see why wasn't women getting into these projects.
Right.
And basically what we found out was that they feel that these things are all pre-planned. And interference is there, and if you don't know somebody, there's no way that you can get it. And even if you had the capability or you had all the qualifications, you would see that somebody else who had the connection would most likely get it. And
did they also feel that men could make those connections more easily? Or?
Yes, because they felt that being a woman, when you try to like operate in that space, there were other expectations from them. So it was not fair play.
Right.
So they felt that.
We had someone, Pabha Deshapriya was on the show as well, talking exactly about that a couple of months ago.
So then another survey that we've just done, I mean these are very recent, like not even 4-5 months, so we haven't gone to the policy part yet. We haven't even publicized the data. The other survey was on gender-based violence and harassment.
Of course.
In workplaces.
I'm actually going to quote that survey that was done by Kanta recently, and I actually read the last bits and pieces of it. I want to quote that survey and want to find out from you. It says, despite high ratings for education, the participation of women as entrepreneurs in Sri Lanka is low, with only 25% of the business owners being women. The social barriers faced by female entrepreneurs cause an overall sense of resistance. The Chamber asserted that the need for better resources, motivation and guidance are the key for driving participation. Now, what are the better resources you're talking about? What type of motivation are you talking about?
So when it comes to, what we find out from them is, even the process of going through this, like a tender process or participation of any of the, it's very daunting for them. So what they want is like from maybe the chamber to play a supporting role, to give them that education, treat them, have a help desk, coach them how to fill the forms and like the steps and all that. So we will probably work on those things in the future. But the fact remains that right now, this is where they stand. And we are just saying we should have greater participation. There's so much of women, 52% women. Obviously, you should be.
There should be much more participation.
Exactly. And also, as I said earlier, since we don't have any numbers, I'm sure there are so many who are doing small businesses from home. Like you know that people bake lunch packets or cook something or make something at home. No, those are not counted. So there is no number. Maybe if you actually do a survey and get a count, probably this 36% might change. But at the end of the day, their contribution is not significant. So we need to really look at like kind of changing this whole.
Absolutely. I think a lot of contributions, actually a lot of businesses slip under the radar, so much so that they're not even counted in the GDP. So that's why there is a lot of hidden wealth in this country, which actually should be much more per capita income. But what I want to say is, okay, saying this is one thing, doing it is completely another. So what kind of teeth does the chamber actually have to influence policy?
So, I mean, we are recognized for one.
Right.
Actually, now I think more than any previous time. For the last 2 to 3 years, we've been like a very strong voice.
Right, wow.
And we fight for the rights of women. We just bring in the issues that are relevant. But we don't have we don't have authority as such.
That's the thing,
but
yeah.
we need to find our ways to approach the right people. Say, for instance, if it is GBVH, we need to basically talk to the minister who's in charge of women and
Correct.
child
Right.
affairs.
Right.
So we don't. I mean, right now, honestly, I don't even know
Who the minister is.
No, we also don't know.
Nobody knows. Not even the minister knows whether
I don't
he's
think
the
the minister himself knows if that's part of his
Yeah,
portfolio.
so
Absolutely.
that's the thing.
Yeah.
And now, in a country like that, even if you have an idea, where do you take it?
Yeah.
And you know that you escalate it, but at some point it's just going to fall flat. Now,
Yeah.
the previous the document I spoke about, it is gone there, but there is no influence from the
That's-
government
to kind of get it done, right?
to get it done. Yeah.
So does it become relegated to the level of a favor or whatever connections that you bring to the table?
I think it just doesn't get recognized at all.
At all.
That's about it. So that's why we approach banks,
Right.
and we go and do whatever we can with the influence we have.
So it doesn't get recognized purely because it's for women or for women?
No, I don't think so. I think it's just it doesn't get
Yeah.
recognized, period. Because I mean, you can see that nothing happens in the country,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
So when you
This
don't
is
have
just
to
like
do it, you don't do it.
Yeah.
Right.
This is just
So
like-
this is now, how does the chamber address the suppression of women to board levels in this country? Now, obviously, you don't necessarily have that
Representation,
the
yeah.
representation
Yeah.
of women in right at the top.
So let
Right.
me rephrase that in a in a different way, because the numbers are phenomenal. When you go to any local university, women outnumber
Outnumbers
men
men.
8 to 2.
Yeah.
80% are women. So most of these women decide after getting the degree, working for a few years, oh, you know what, I'm going to be a mother, then I'm going to be a stay-at-home mother.
Right.
That's one of the biggest problems.
Right.
But the rest of them, what happens? They somehow, I don't know. I mean, these glass ceiling issues, Tusitha, have been addressed from the 1970s onwards. Surely, are we still trying to break the glass ceiling?
So I don't. I think it's a lot depends on the woman herself as
Right.
well, because you shouldn't. I mean, if you consider yourself an equal and you perform well, I don't think any of these problems exist. I mean, I'm talking from my experience.
Right.
Right.
But at the same time, now organizations are becoming conscious about giving due respect to women, and we are driving. I think there is a separate organization, the institute directors, who is working on getting this 25% representation at board level.
Right.
You can see more women on the boards now. You
Yeah.
can actually see a lot of women at high
Correct.
C-suite positions. I think the woman also has a role to play, because it's I think the general belief that why a woman couldn't go far is because when you have to balance your work and life, you tend to
Of course.
life
Kind of pick
becomes
one
more
over the other.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
true.
And of course, which is very true, because the responsibilities of a woman is much higher.
For
You
sure.
have to play multiple roles.
Right.
So I think they have to get skilled on how to handle the multiple roles.
How do you see women of today juggling family and, of course, a corporate job? Of course, I mean,
Or a business.
Or a business.
Yeah.
I mean, women, maybe like our mothers' times, most of them didn't.
Yeah.
It's predominantly family and want to stay at home mom.
That has
How's it-
changed
it has
quite
changed,
a bit, yeah,
right.
because I think women are really finding out that both are possible.
Right.
But of course, having said that, the successful women, whoever we see thriving, has a very good support system.
Yes.
The husband is very supportive, and then maybe you have like a network
Yeah,
of people
correct,
who
correct.
will around you, who can help you.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have that, then it's really tough
That's right.
to concentrate on, like,
multiple
prioritize
things,
which
because everything is pressure.
Yes,
I am for a
especially
complete role reversal. I would very happily stay home. I hope my wife's watching. I'm sure she's.
You've tried this many times.
I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it on national TV right now. Karnataka, you earn the big bucks.
What would you do at home?
I can cook.
Okay.
I can clean. I can wash. I can look after the child. I've been a teacher, so I can teach him some things. So nobody takes me seriously when I say this. They all think I'm joking. No, I'm not. I'm very, I'm not expensive and I'm worth it.
But Anu, you've tried this many times.
Yeah, right. So one more time.
It's been a failure every single time.
And he's trying it on air.
Now national TV might change. Yeah, I don't care what you do as long as you come for the show.
Yeah. That's right. Okay, that's a little side note. But another thing that I'm really worried about, because my wife works in secretarial work for companies, right? So now that is an aspect of entrepreneurship that a lot of people miss, because they are so involved in the design or growing the business or making connections or making money that you forget the legal aspect of things, right? And 1 year, 2 years down the line, when you've missed VAT payments, when you've not paid the right kind of taxes, when you haven't got a qualified accountant managing your system, then things really get upset. How does the chamber come in there?
Okay, so I think what we have identified from the entrepreneurs, there are two really big burning issues for them.
Right.
One is access to market.
Right.
Second one is access to finance. These other things are, the knowledge doesn't even exist.
Oh, yeah.
That taxation is important, insurance is important. So we are actually doing a lot of work with organizations in those spaces on capacity building.
Right.
So they need to be trained. I mean, especially when it comes to insurance, people don't understand the need at all.
Yeah.
Because they only think of an insurance when something really goes wrong.
That's right.
So you don't have that whole planning, being ready if something goes wrong, to cover yourself. That doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Especially with entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
So we do a lot of work in that space.
Yeah. Well, thank heavens, because I think that's a big awareness area when it comes to both men and women, actually, for that.
I think we have a question for this on the show just coming. This is
Harini, very succinctly put, I must say. Is your husband supportive?
Very supportive. I think if not for him, I probably wouldn't have been doing what I'm doing, actually.
You're not just saying that because he's right there.
No. I would have said it even if he wasn't there.
So I mean, it's very important that you pointed out the fact.
Parents, when they come home, turn those notions again upside down, saying, no, this is not how we do. You just do what needs to be done in school, but this is how the real world is.
Funnily enough, today's generation doesn't pick up this. In our days we did that sort of story.
Yeah.
I think that has helped.
Yeah, of course.
In our parents' generation, it was always the case. Even today, my mom will basically say, during our days we didn't do this. Well, your days are gone.
Yeah. No, but
our days now.
I find that kids nowadays find it very, very difficult to take their parents seriously because they don't understand the simplest digital things.
Yes.
So they live in this digital world, and we have these old folk coming and say, WhatsApp load. So how can you say, when you try to give like age-old wisdom, they're like, Dad, you are just out of it, man.
That's true. That's so true.
So which is actually, I find that's a good thing. Because
And somehow, I don't know, I never had a problem with working with other people.
Yeah, that your femininity was like kind of
it was never
judgment.
It was not. I think I didn't consider that I was like a woman and therefore maybe I'm a lesser being or anything like that. So I guess you need to be confident.
Yeah.
You need to be like very assured of your capabilities.
Correct.
And then nothing is impossible.
But were you also paid the same to do the same work?
Yes.
That is very important.
That is very important. That's wonderful.
I think again, it's you need to be able to demand that.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
you are bringing certain value to the table. You have a right to get. I mean, just because you're a woman, you shouldn't be paid anything less than somebody who's doing an equal job a man who's doing a similar job.
Right.
So,
before we actually get into the awards, which of course is what we're talking about, how do women entrepreneurs be a part of the chamber? How do they
join?
How do they join?
so there's a process.
Right.
There's an application that they need to submit, and then there's like an evaluation committee. But it's not tough. I mean, basically, we would like to have any entrepreneur because we feel that once we have this network in place, we help each other. I mean, they help us and we help them.
Right.
And they can actually get a lot of support from the programs that we do.
Right.
And for most of the programs that are conducted by the chamber, for the members it's free of charge,
Right.
except for like maybe the real expensive ones, we will have a nominal fee.
Right.
And even for like small entrepreneurs, like small and micro and small entrepreneurs across, we try to get other people to fund it, like we'll get sponsors so that we can give the program to them free.
Right.
Where do you conduct the programs? Do you go to them or they come to you?
Depends.
Yeah.
Now we do regional programs as
Right,
well. So
okay.
actually now we are more into national programs than earlier.
Of course.
Earlier a lot was done in Colombo and we had to get people down. But now, like recently, even during COVID, we had programs. We had virtual programs.
Wow.
With IFC as a partner called a Digital Academy.
Right.
It is like a 14-week program where every week for 2 hours we would touch a topic. So we covered almost everything that is required for a startup or a already existing small business, from marketing to finance, taxation, insurance, digital marketing.
Yeah. So that's actually across the board, right? Not necessarily female
course, and
entrepreneurs
they get
only.
It was for female
Okay.
entrepreneurs, right? So we work, actually programs are only for female
Right,
entrepreneurs
right.
because we have to
Yeah,
stay true.
there has to be a line drawn somewhere.
So now obviously moving into the Entrepreneur Awards, the Chamber has launched Women Entrepreneur Awards to recognize outstanding women entrepreneurs of Sri Lanka and the SAARC region. So before we jump into why the SAARC region was also introduced in these awards, tell us more about the Entrepreneur Awards 2022.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can we just go into this question just before? Because I don't know, this is like outlandish question here. Because now we're trying to get women entrepreneurs. But Jeevan wants to know, how does the transgender community fit into these awards, if they fit in at all?
So that's fine. I mean, as long as it's a woman-owned business, that's fine. We don't. I mean,
There's no discrimination.
Not at all. Jeevan, not a problem. If you consider yourself a woman, done.
Yeah.
So jumping into the award ceremony, the awards itself. The Entrepreneur Awards 2022. Tell us a bit more about it.
Okay, so this is we have revamped the 2022 award ceremony, but this is something that the chamber has been doing for a long time.
Right.
So the last one was done in 2018. Of course, thereafter 19, all these issues started.
Yeah.
So they used to do it every 2 years.
Right.
Okay.
This time we have structured it very differently and trying to bring in all the fundamentals that are required for a business to be considered by them in applying.
Right.
So the whole process is like it's almost, somebody actually said it's doing like doing an MBA thesis. Yes, we wanted it to be that way because we wanted them to think, not just like send financial information or a set of documents. Yes.
Yeah.
And that alone is not going to give you like a strategic direction for your business.
Right.
Here, at least now, trying to fill this application, they will have to start thinking about, okay, is my business aligned to all these pillars? Where is my future pathways?
Yeah.
Okay, so am I to talk about the program?
Yeah, of course.
So what happens is it's in 3 segments. Firstly, we want them to tell us their story. So it's called My Story.
Okay.
And under My Story, so I need to refer this because this is pretty detailed. They have to basically write an essay.
Right.
With each of those segments at 200 words. Purpose of the business.
Okay.
Right. Then the entrepreneurial spirit, and there are like subcategories. We've given them guidelines on what needs to be touched. Then focus on innovation, creating value, impacting the local or the global market. If they are currently just a local brand,
Okay.
what are their plans for the global market?
Right.
Are they working on? So we want them to start thinking big.
Right.
So even if it's not there today, okay, how do I make sure that maybe next year or the year after, I get my business ready for it? And then the strategic direction. So the first part is my story, and then obviously the second part will cover the finance and governance, where they have to submit their financial information. So on finance value creation, the governance mechanism for the business, and what do they do for skill development of their teams.
Right.
Okay.
So we want them to also start thinking that these businesses really need investment on the people,
Of course.
Right.
and for it to be sustainable. And what expansion opportunities. So all those have to be covered under finance and governance. Now, how this is going to be structured is they will apply, they will give us all this information. We are going to have judging in 3 different processes. There will be 2 panels judging. My story will be judged by people who are competent to do that. Then finance and governance will be more people with that background.
Yeah.
We will shortlist them, and out of the shortlist, we will take them for an interview. And at that interview, we are going to see how good they are at presenting themselves.
Right.
Can they really make their business case? If they had to go to a bank, or if they had to
Yeah.
go to like an investor,
Yeah.
can
Like
they?
Shark Tank.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah.
Are they capable of presenting themselves so that
Yeah.
they can get
Are
noticed?
all the panels consisting of women only?
No.
Okay.
Judging panels will be
Will men
will
and
have
women,
men as
yeah,
well. Yeah. So
okay.
we're not
Yeah.
that.
One thing that struck me, Tusitha, is the fact that you actually opened this out to the entire country.
Yes.
You've opened it out to all the provinces.
Yeah.
Now, what you are requesting here, maybe there are individuals in provinces who've never heard of something like this,
Yeah.
but they're capable enough in terms of the entrepreneurship in their own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do they become part of this? Because, someone who's in a rural area who's doing a pretty successful business,
Yeah.
as far as they're concerned.
Right.
Right? Now, you're requesting for certain things, which is obviously, like you said, writing an MBA, a thesis.
Yeah.
How do you rope them in?
So now,
For instance, is this trilingual?
yeah, it is trilingual.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
So the thing is, this time they might find it a challenge, but at least they'll put their house in order
Yeah.
to apply for the next one. What we want them to do is to start thinking that
Right.
this is how a business should be.
Should be, right.
And also to your question, now in most of these regions there are regional chambers. They're not women's chambers, but there are like chambers
Right.
which has both men and women, and some of them are pretty organized. So through them we can actually we plan to do coaching as well.
Right.
So we will be doing a lot of hand holding to ensure that they understand.
Right.
This might be a little high flown, but we feel that this is the way to go.
Okay.
For the future, for their own good, and also for the country, we need to structure it in a meaningful way.
And I suppose this also basically helps them to take that one step out of the country.
Yes.
Yeah.
If they want to take their products
Absolutely.
out.
At least they'll realize that the potential is there.
Right.
How long is this process, Tusitha?
So now we just launched it on the 7th of September.
Right.
We are having the award ceremony on the 6th of January.
Right.
So in between, the applications close on the 31st of October.
Okay.
So there are in the judging and like the rest of it happens in 6th of
Yeah.
October, 6th of January.
If people want a little help in filling this up, will you give it?
Yes, of course.
Right.
So we have in like all our communication, we have given like contact numbers, so they can call the chamber, and if they really need like sessions of explanations or holding hand, things
Yeah.
like that, we are ready to do that.
That's excellent.
Right now, like we basically spoke about the fact that the competition was primarily for Sri Lankans. Now you included the SAARC region also to compete in a special category. Why is that?
Okay, so now since of late, what we are realizing, the world is very small. Okay, there is a lot of these programs that are happening on training includes SAARC women as well, and there are organizations that are like that have these groups of SAARC women in one network.
Okay.
And I was actually part of one of those. We went for a training program in Nepal in April on digital marketing, which was conducted by UNSCAP. So these women don't consider that they have to be in their country only. Through their friend network, they are now saying, okay, can we get my product out into
Right.
other places? So why not?
Right.
Yeah, so
Right.
that's the same thing. And also maybe if they're doing something different and better, it's our chance to look at it and learn.
So it's coming under as a completely separate category altogether.
It is a separate category. Similarly, now we have regional awards as well. So each region we will have like a best of the region. There will be an award. So similarly, SAARC will also have awards.
Wow. So the entrepreneur awards, especially the female entrepreneur awards, you say that it's been happening for a very, very long time. The award winners in the previous award ceremonies, where are they now? Have they moved on? Have they taken off from this point?
Yes, they have. Actually, we have some really big names who have been there.
Tell us.
So, Mrs. Abans Pestanji was one. Lakshmini Vijayawardhana from Boardpack.
Yep.
She has been a winner. There is a lady who's running a healthcare business called Indrani Fernando. It's called Philips Hospital in Kalutara. It's one of the big hospitals there. So she's been a past winner. So we have many actually who have used this to get to the Ramani Veerakon, who's in the apparel industry. I mean, she's like Ramya Veerakon. I'm sorry, Ramya Veerakon. So she's like a very prominent, established business lady. So there's many who have benefited from it and who have also used that to get to the next level.
And I have a question for you, which we will come back right after this. Stephanie's question is far more important than mine.
So Stephanie asked this question: when you began your career many years ago, did you ever imagine that you'd have a leadership role in this organization?
So talking about the Women's Chamber.
Yeah.
No, I don't think I had really had plans for that. Actually, my coming into the chamber was quite by accident. What actually happened is now I'm a management consultant, like on my own. I have my own business.
Right.
So I do business transformation work with small businesses and help them to structure their businesses better and to have a strategic direction. So I was invited to create a strategic plan for the chamber 2 years ago.
Okay.
So that's how I got involved, and since been stuck after that. So now on the board as well. But I think that project helped the chamber a lot.
Right.
And we became visible. We actually changed the way we look, the branding part of it as well. So nothing has stopped us from there.
How much time does this take for, I mean, look, when guys get involved in clubs and this and that, it pretty much takes, I mean, we don't need to lie, we've all been there. we are there for an hour, but it takes a day, you know what I'm saying?
I don't know, I've never been there.
Oh, please.
What are you talking about? Please speak for yourself.
Yeah, please.
We are more focused. We have an agenda. When we have a meeting, we have a very clear agenda, and we try to finish the whatever business in the allocated time.
Right.
We are very productive, actually.
Well done. That's the best answer possible.
Yeah, unlike you guys.
I didn't get that. I didn't
Look,
say
you
that.
know why? There's lots of other things to juggle. So Mithanavil and Natanata in the bear. We can't have one more fulfillment of spiritual upliftment. There are kids waiting at home.
No case of one for the road. So the question that I want to ask you before we had Stephanie's question is, these super ladies who've actually won these awards, their success stories, has that been passed down to the other members at the chamber?
Yes, we do have these stories being shared very often, and their involvement, these ladies who have and most of them actually have played an integral part in the chamber management as well. Some have been on the boards as well. So they play a role, and a majority of them actually feel that it is their duty to give back.
Right.
So this is a way of giving back.
Right.
Helping somebody is a way of giving back.
Right.
So now we have currently quite a few leading business people in the chamber committees. and I think, as you said, the time involvement is pretty high.
Yeah.
But they don't consider that a burden.
Right.
Whilst they somehow find time to connect with the chamber and do what is needed.
Right.
That's excellent. But I really want to know, in your own opinion, what does it take for a very male-dominated society in many spheres to take women entrepreneurs seriously? Must it be enshrined in law, take us seriously or else? Or is there something like educationally or, policy-wise that can be done?
But I don't think rules and regulations can sort this out.
Yeah.
I think it is how you're brought up, basically.
Mm.
If you start respecting a woman as an equal and that they have capabilities of doing what you do, then the world changes. No?
Absolutely, I completely agree with you.
What you said is right. I think the future generations will be in a better position.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, because I don't think they see themselves as different.
No, they don't.
Yeah,
they
just
don't.
because gender plays an absolute minimal role in self-worth.
I don't know. I also feel that our schooling should be mixed,
Of course.
not girls' schools and boys' schools, because the moment you put them together,
completely
that's what the international schools are showing.
Right.
You learn to live together.
Right.
You learn to respect each other.
Yeah.
Right.
This whole system is like you're basically aliens. They're a different breed, so that needs to change as well.
That cultivates complete different sort of state of mind also at the same
Absolutely.
time.
Of course, I've taught in some schools where there was integration, and of course they weren't allowed to talk to the boys, weren't allowed to talk to the girls in the same class.
I think.
I'm glad you left that school.
Absolutely. We are all glad. Anyway, sorry, you were saying.
It's kind of old-fashioned thinking has to change because
That's
the world has moved in a different direction. So it's not fair to restrict.
But what can you do? Look at the parliament. Old-fashioned thinking galore.
I think we're wasting time.
I mean, the representation of women in the parliament is at the
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
time
They are
low.
also
Especially with 52% of the population.
Yeah, and they had like a mandate to have 25%, and they don't do
That's
anything
been
about
ignored.
it.
Yep. They have a mandate for lots of things, Tusitha.
Yeah.
We're looking for all of those things at the moment. But yeah, we're into like the final 7 minutes of the show right now. We covered quite a bit. Honestly, how hard is it for women of today to get right to the top of a corporate ladder? And what are the pushbacks that they are experiencing? I mean, it's like we spoke about earlier on, it's come a long way from where we were about 5-6 years ago, but clearly there are still pushbacks at the moment.
Of course.
Right? So, and how does a woman overcome these pushbacks to actually climb up?
And does it help if you look good? No, honestly. I mean, is it easier to be at the top if you are better looking?
I wouldn't agree to that.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot to do with your own capabilities. If you can prove that you're worthy, and that should be the only thing that is measured. So it's your delivery.
Right.
It's what you do and how you kind of. Yes, there are few who have really reached the top.
For sure.
It may not have been that easy, but I think for them, what they did was they just forgot that they were women, and then did their job.
Did what needed to be done.
Yeah, needed to be
Absolutely.
done in the
And
best possible way.
that should be the only consideration.
Yeah. So hopefully, future will be different.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, really looking forward to the Entrepreneur Awards, and you say it's happening in January, is it?
January 6th is the award.
Right, and so you obviously have different categories that have been sort of dished out as far as the award ceremony is concerned.
Yeah. So we will have the business category starting from. There's an option for startups. Startup could be any, because I think during COVID there were lots of businesses, especially female startup. So we're giving them an opportunity. Then there is the micro, small, medium, large, and of course a SAARC. And then there'll be special awards out of the whole pool. We will have several awards, like the best woman entrepreneur will be the climax of the year.
Right.
The young woman entrepreneur. We will also consider somebody with limitations like a disability.
Oh, that's great.
If there is a woman who's done things with forgetting that they are hindrances.
Innovation is also, I know that it was part of the criteria.
Innovation is part of the criteria.
Yeah.
So the special awards will be, let me just read the list, I think I have it here. So we have the best of the SAARC region, the most outstanding export-oriented entrepreneur, most positively able woman entrepreneur,
Right.
an outstanding startup, young woman entrepreneur of the year, and the woman entrepreneur of the year.
And once again, these awards will be every 2 years. This after
No, I think we are planning to have it every year now. So
Oh,
let's
great.
hope,
Yeah.
let's hope that it
Right.
will. Yeah.
This, I think, will also sort of open doors for lots of female entrepreneurs to actually come out, honestly.
Yes, yes.
One thing, though, I think education is really important, especially during the COVID time. I personally know lots of females started businesses on Instagram because they were at home. They started, baking stuff and
Yeah.
making stuff. The moment they wanted to actually make it legal, they stepped back. They just, as in, they wanted to basically sit at home, bake, put it up on Instagram, sell it, take the money, and carry on doing the thing. But the moment you have to start registering the business, moment you start looking into hiring staff and so on and so forth, that's when that pushback happens.
Exactly. It's just, that's where actually the chamber can help.
Right.
To help them to start looking at how do you scale this.
Exactly.
And what kind of knowledge and what kind of support do you need to get this done. You're absolutely right. That's why we have a startup. So startup could be any business that has been there for 5 years, and most of them don't even have accounts.
Yeah, they don't.
Yeah. So they won't have a business registration. So for that category, there are certain privileges.
So you have that category.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
the startup
great.
category is there.
Right.
Because there are lots of innovative businesses in that
Yes,
category.
yes,
yes. I'm amazed at some of these young females who have started businesses, especially after COVID.
Yeah, for sure.
The COVID really got them
I think actually,
to blossom.
Yeah, actually, COVID might not necessarily be an all bad thing because a lot of people found out a lot of things that they didn't know about themselves.
Yeah, and also the fact that corporates found that working from home is not a no-no. And how much of costs it saves.
Yeah, actually.
So
yeah,
I guess.
It's great. That's wonderful because I know that when that guidance is actually given to them, you will have more women coming out.
Yes.
Because they're just, only problem is they're scared. They don't want to go with this hassle.
The hassle.
And opening an account, registering a company.
Also socialization, Shaq, because women for the longest time have been told that they are not as capable as men.
Right.
This has been taught in school because with patriarchal attitudes, have been taught at home because mothers and fathers, grandfathers and grandmothers, aunts and uncles have all endorsed this.
Right.
So breaking away, breaking this ideology is a very tough task. But thank heavens that actually the younger generation look at us with a little bit of mild surprise and a little bit of like a joke because we don't get it. That's the time to rethink.
Definitely.
This is I honestly, we're just into the last 2 minutes of the show. I honestly think maybe the chamber should take like a role in terms of educating in a mass level. It doesn't only have to be just everybody involved in the chamber. It should just be out to all women out there. If just go out there, just do what you need to do.
And especially encouraging them get into the IT sector.
Yes.
Because very few women
there are organizations working on the IT sector now, especially. I read something today also about an award ceremony that they are having in the IT space.
Right.
I think there is a lot happening there to get women recognized. This is also an opportunity for them to be. You are absolutely right. This education again has to start at school levels.
Yeah.
And it has to happen in universities. But to be very frank, most of the universities actually have entrepreneurship training programs, clubs and various organizations, and we get invited to come and speak at those as well.
It's all good when you are educating the potential entrepreneurs, but it needs to seep down to the previous generation also. Because what sometimes you learn in the university, the moment you come home, like Anu, what you said, the mother turns the whole thing around.
That this can't be done, that you as a girl can't do it. That's what needs to change. So I mean, rather this is obviously going to change over time.
Yes.
But I'd rather have it happen right now.
And the thing is this: we are also a very culturally bound country. And
enslaved you.
So the thing is, what you study in the university, and then when you come home and your mom and your dad says, no, this is not going to work, you are bound to listen to your mom and dad. And that's
even though you don't agree.
Yes.
But I guess with the next generation and the next generation after that, things will change.
That's right.
Because they are looking at things very differently.
But things have to start somewhere, and I think
it's already started. Because once the conversation is started, then it just keeps progressing and gathering momentum, and that's exactly what we want. Because for the longest time, there was no 35 years ago, before 35 years, nobody was talking about women entrepreneurs.
No, not at all.
It was unheard of.
And actually, it would have been a shock if a woman started doing a business.
Absolutely. Although we have had some fantastic female, like certainly in the architecture sphere or doctors, but there was no official forum that recognized them.
Right. We're into the final minute of the show. I think just before we wind up the show, we need to get into the survey results.
That's right. So let's get back into the poll and see how the responses stand just after this message from our sponsor.
Welcome to the universe of the Raz, where you explore and discover whatever you want, whatever you need. All you can imagine is on your feet. When miles are abridged, happiness is unlocked. Discover your Daraz.
A meal isn't just food. It's hope, nourishment, and love. And right now, we need it all. Presenting Love Uber Eats, a platform to donate essential items to those in need. Send preset ration packs on Uber Eats, and we will match every donation and deliver it with love.
All right, we are back, and just before we reveal the responses to our poll, I have to say some wonderful things about our newest sponsor, that's Uber Eats, and they're doing this wonderful thing where actually there are lots of people out there who can't even afford one meal a day.
So true.
Yeah, so they've partnered up with the Robin Hood Army, and they are going to match our donations 1 for 1 to all these people that are in need. So if you want more details, please check out Uber and you'll find out how it's done, because you have to just deliver food, pay by your card and not by cash, because otherwise they'll have to pay when they get it. Pay by card and just pick the nearest Robin Hood Army collection point and send it there, and Uber Eats will match your donation 1 for 1. So it's double the effort immediately.
Props to Uber. Thank you so much. And also thank you so much for coming on the show with us. Thank you so much to our friends at Daraz also on the show.
Absolutely.
Winding up the show, it's time for us to get into the survey.
Yeah, the poll was this. Does your organization, the particular organization that you're attached to in some way, offer the same amount of opportunities specifically targeted to women as it did 3 years ago? Yes or no? You were supposed to WhatsApp your answers to our hotline number 077-669-1590.
Before we get into the answer on this one, Tusitha, what do you think? I mean, the organization, possibly where you were before, I'm sure you still hear lots of what's going on in that organization. Is the same amount of opportunities specifically targeted to women as it did 3 years ago?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say that majority of the progressive organizations actually have already recognized that women bring a lot of value to the table.
Absolutely not to the table. And the thing is, I think we had Isuru Gunasekara, who's the chief people person at John Keel's group, talking to us about paternity leave and how they are instigating an entirely new and very vibrant culture of human resource management to, I think that's wonderful. That conversation we can have at some point. I like the
word you use, progressive companies.
Yeah, so it's not everybody, but I mean, you need to recognize this, otherwise there's no future.
Right. All right, time for us to find out.
The answer is this.
What do we have? 60%.
60% say their organization offers the same amount of opportunities specifically targeted to women as it did 3 years ago.
It's good, but there's a lot of work to be done.
Absolutely. I think that's very hopeful.
Yeah.
But I know, I work in advertising, and I've worked in multiple organizations, and I know that this is this is not reality.
Yeah,
You know, I hope that it gets there one day,
Right.
but right now I don't think that's the reality.
Radio, Tusitha, thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been an absolute
Really
pleasure.
nice.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Tusitha.
Hope you enjoyed it.
Yes,
Right?
it was good fun.
Wonderful. That's exactly what we want to hear. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being a part of the show. So don't forget, get in touch with the Women's Chamber of Commerce and Industries if you are a entrepreneur, a budding entrepreneur. Possibly you may even have an idea. You don't know how
Women's
to.
Chamber of Industry and Commerce.
Women's Chamber of Industry and Commerce. There you go. Sorry. And you are an entrepreneur who has an idea, doesn't know how to start. Just reach out to them. I'm sure there are lots of ladies out there who will be more than happy to help
Absolutely.
you out.
ෂැක් දැන් ඇදගෙන නාන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. තියෙනවා මෝටර් එකක් එහෙම දාලා නාන්න පුළුවන්. බාල්දිය දාන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. Anyway, we'll see you tomorrow with another fantastic guest.
Have yourself a wonderful night, ladies and gentlemen. Good night.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Powered by
Discover your Daraj.
Presenting Love Uber Eats, a platform to donate essential items to those in need.